Big run off camera, unfortunately. Never recorded it. Feel a lot better now, so I might be streaming a little more often. And looking towards some more randomized runs. I think that's just where the bread and butter is of the game, really. A random sector. We got. Let's see. What did we get? We got inhospitable. Let me make sure that we select that. Which does what does inhospitable do, right? No Earth-likes. Yeah, hospital means more Earth-like. So no Earth-like automatically kind of sort of increases the proportion of planets that are not useful at the start of the game, like a lava and desert and ice ball. There are, I believe there are a total, right? Let's review this for a second. There are 5 colonizable colony planets. Then you've got yourself mineral planets, forge world planets, primordial planets, and let's see, anything else I forgot about? Remnant planets. I'm still missing one type. I think there were 10 different types of planets, or were there 9? Either way, right? Yeah, there are, I believe there are 10 types of planets. So getting rid of one of those 10, right, and turning that into, well, 70% of the time it's going to be okay, 30% of the time it's going to be pretty bad, means that 30% of 10% is going to be not very useful to us at the start of the game. So that's 3%, right? So the plus 5% score for this, it makes some sense, right? If you view it that way. But of course, if you're playing with a modifier like that, you can adjust your team to it, but we can't. Right? You could, if you allowed yourself to look at the races and perks, then you could make some decisions that work well in the sector you're given. But I like playing with randomized perks. So we're playing with the Dender, the Bakar, and the Sylphid. I believe that's a combination that I have done before. Yeah, twice before. Okay, so we've seen this combination before. But not this combination of perks. Prosperity and Explorers. What we're going to get with Explorers makes it so that you gain some extra money for exploration. You'll have to be exploring about 50 planets. So, you know, with up to 3, typically around 2 on average, I would imagine, per planet, you could get about 100 credits over the course of the run. Of course, there's another perk that gives you 60 credits at the very start, but credits now are better than credits later for, you know, reasons of discounting and economics. And, you know, go and look something up if you're not sure what I mean with that. Prosperity by itself is also very nice. It means that we only need 5 imports and exports to get something to prosperity. And a lot of planets actually need only 2 things and supply only 3 things. So, you know, that extra resource that you then don't need to put in just to get prosperous is actually quite good for the late game. We got the Elysium project as well, which works well with prosperity, again, because you now have those resources spare, so why not throw them all into a colony and make it legendary at the end of the game, right? With an option. What other techs do we have available for this? You see solar superconductors, which can be run defining. Again, we'll have more arid than desert because of our quirk. Same goes for freeze resistant bots. Then there is disease eradication early. Disease eradication makes your colonies produce more people. It can be good, only if you can actually use them though. And there's asteroid dwellings. There's also some very fancy projects. There is Genesis cells, which, you know, works just like Skill Up on those planets that produce both, which there are some of. Although one of them is an Earth-like and those can't appear, right? So maybe less useful. Flexible Fab though is going to be more useful than usual because we'll see more Forge Worlds if we see no Earth-likes. We don't have access to these perks. Let's see what we get, really. That's more important, right? Before we, go all into, which ones would I want to do? It's kind of a hypothetical until we see what a galaxy looks like. So, starting out again, there are not that many signals to the left here. It's kind of an empty area. There's a large cluster in the center, a triangle shape here. This means that these 4 planets are very likely to be planets, but they're in a row, which is usually a disadvantage because you cannot connect slipways through planets. Okay, so ideally I'm looking at doing it in such a way that I don't have to scan to the left. You grab 4 here. And not more than 4 though. Let's see, is there a way to... Ooh, this scan looks very, very enticing. That's 6 things. Yeah, let's grab this first. Now you cannot undo this, right? But grabbing more things, as you already saw, right? It triggered our Explorer's perk and we got 3 twice. So we got a total of 9 credits for discovering these 4 planets. Better than the 2 I anticipated so far. Now, these don't really combine that well together. I mean, they produce kind of the same things. This could be microchips for this. But setting that up, I mean, we have a satisfied colony that way, right? Food and microchips. But nowhere to send to humans, so it's not a very strong start. It's also only one-way trades. And I'd be, willing to look for 2-way trades. Now we do have the Bakar, which do have missions that say, explore this many planets. So exploring too much can mean that we do the work that we should be doing, getting some extra points for a mission at the same time. Now if I do this, then I leave this one. Yeah, that's not ideal. So perhaps we try to get that small one. It was a planet. Not a useful one, it was one. Now there's another jungle. A jungle and a swamp. Like, all these want lots of robots. Why is that? Let's ignore that for now. Something I click with my mouse, probably. So I've got myself a start right here with a mineral world, going into a forge world, going into this other forge world. We could make minerals into chips. I don't think I can do that though, right? So minerals into robots into goods, right? Would be the way to sort of chain these up. Problem with that is all of our colonies, potential colonies so far, want a microchip. Of those colonies, this one is the most enticing because it, unlike the other 2, does not in particular want a in particular not use its person, right? So if a mineral goes here and a microchip goes here and the planet goes here, we have another problem, which is that this connection here, I mean, just set it up, I didn't see. If I do like food here, mechanized here, colony there, right? If we just sort of set up the whole thing, of course I'm doing it in the wrong order, but look, right? Cannot cross the streams. The nice thing is you have an undo button in this game, right? So you can just demonstrate things where you otherwise couldn't. However, I think the likelihood that this is a colony is probably the greatest among all of these 3. All of them could be supplied, right, by this chips into this, with this mine into a nanotech here. And that's very likely, but it's not certain. I might have a nanotech down here, for example, in which case I might want to surround it, perhaps. I can always provide this with food, or at least extremely likely provide this with food. The ideal solution here would be to find a remnant planet down here, or a food planet, right? If we find a food planet, I can do the nanochips here. If I find a remnant planet, I could do the nanochips down there and make... Could I? No, I couldn't, right? Because I couldn't make a mineral into... You know what? I think there's a better way of doing this, which is to build the mine first. The mine then allows me to have some vision, right? And I do have some months left if we plan on doing 2 planets in the first year, which might just be, since there's no two-way trades really possible, that might just be a mine and something else, right? If I find an ocean planet, then I pick that. It seems better than setting up the colony when I would be hoping for a thing that wouldn't even be a good solution in the first place. We got an additional... Oh, this is not really what I was looking for. We could go up to September without issues with regards to... Although this asteroid is nice, right? It's 24 money in the end. Not so much as this one is. So am I looking for some water? Perhaps, right? That's obstructed. For this mine later. And the arid as well. Like having a water here. I mean, there could be a water here. For the arid and the mine. So we could start with the arid. Then I'd want to know, you know, does this arid have some food available to it? So yeah, exploring down near the arid seems like it would be a good choice. Okay, so again, like, there is some potential food. There's also something to be said for trying to make it so that, since there's 3 mineral worlds here, if there could be a laboratory here in the future, then I would not want to cross the slipways too much. I could send person from this arid, but it's likely going to have to connect to both of these, which is going to cut it across anyway, right? Maybe we start with the swamp. As we did find another forge world. I mean, that could make goods, right? For both. Or it could be the one that makes the chips. Well, the chips seem more... They seem better here. Because there's like so many things that can... The farms here and colonies there both want chips. So there's so many things that consume chips here that I feel like that would be good too. I might want to scout to the left as well. Although next year, right? So I'll set up the most likely colony candidate, which I think is still this swamp. And then let's have a look at our tasks. Get a food-producing planet to successful. Again, that's very doable with this food-producing planet here. Well, not. I mean, yeah, we can. I can make a mineral down here, send it up. And then that does not cross the slipways. Right, this is just for later. So that's fine. And then the mineral here could make a chip here, which could be sent back. The mineral here could make a good here, which can be sent in. Although it would cut off my access. I could make a chip here too. Send it in. Then make a robot there, but the chip won't be able to access the robot. Nor will it for goods. Right, the robot facility on a forge road wants a chip as well. After you send it either... Or after you send in the ore. And the goods facility as well, after you send in either the ore or the robot. Forge roads like being together, is the thing we're at. Where is the designated area? It's down here. So if we're going to go for this arid, then the exploration mission is fairly easy. 4 robots typically requires 2 planets producing robots. We have plans for 2. This one is probably not going to be a robot. There's nothing down here that wants one. This one's likely to be a robot if we want to use it to make green stuff down here. Although it's even more likely going to be a chip with the top one being a robot. right? As the colony doesn't need a robot, but if we want to build green stuff, it is. It's risky with this, right? Because we don't know if there's minerals down there, right? Do we have a tech that can fix this problem for us? If we get into the situation where we want a mineral, but there's none there. Well, there are drill bots available, right? This would mean taking a 3% penalty, because we're probably going to be, more than 8 years before we get this, which we'll be able to get minerals from this ice ball, or this lava, in fact. And I think it's fairly likely that we'll want a tech like drill bots, because there are going to be more lava and ice ball planets in the future. Another way of fixing it much earlier would be with the solar farm. Although again, I don't see an arid or desert world. Freeze resistant could be good. I just only see a single ice ball. Maybe not. And there's geothermals actually on lava and mineral worlds. There is one here. There's one there. There's a lot of them actually. Geothermal seems like the tech we'd want. Right, some early mineral harvesting into geothermals. So, which ones do we take is the question. I think I take the food producing planet to question mark. Is that gonna work? Could send it here and there. Microchip from there. Yeah, that works. Okay. And then, since we're going up there, I think I'll still take the Explorer, because we'll just have to settle one of these places and then we get that. As opposed to having to make 2 Forge Worlds with robots when I've got only 1 planned. So let's set up some more stuff. Since this is going to still be struggling, our mineral worlds are, this makes us very little money, but our mineral worlds will be more profitable. Right, but what about the other order? Because that was +2, which doesn't seem amazing. What if I start with this into you? Right, as long as I can get this farm here working, I should get a lot of money. Yeah, +5, see? That's actually a better way of setting things up than the other way around. Even though, we'll be bleeding this more quickly. Because this is a effective two-way trade, it makes more money, especially when both plants are going to be established, which makes 1 more cash per trade. So then the final month of the year would be that connection. Seems okay. Now this, of course, we have that problem, which I stated before. Year 3403, we should be going for nanochips. Which now makes this plant stable. Get this additional ore. Fix more things. Now only 1 planet remains that's struggling. Right, and here's the question, right? Here's the main question to answer. Is this going to find a source of ore? That's the... Well, we're not going to be getting both of these. I don't believe there will be a pixel that... No, there is a pixel. I found the pixel. So we found this mineral world. Now, if I settle this, we go to 8, but we don't pay the extra tax for administration costs until next year. So it's actually a good idea to do so. You look, right, the income is 18. It costs 2, so you would imagine, we receive 8, but instead we get 16. Although the indicator says 8, right? It says we'll be 8 next year. So we better get it back up because we're bleeding money, right? We started at 125, we're down to 47. This is normal for the early game. Now, this connection can be made, but cuts off the food. And remember, I had a mission to do food producing planets. So what I want to know is, if I want to cut this off, is there a way I can send the food to some other place? And also, is that valuable at all? Because it also wants an import route. And that is obstructed. Right? So we need an ore planet down in this general vicinity, as this too is obstructed. Well, let's have a look for something consuming the food first. Some kind of colony down here. Ideally, we would find an Earth-like, but yeah, those have all been destroyed for intergalactic bypasses in this sector a long time ago. I think we're just shy of being able to, yeah. Like once you see this, you know, right, there's no pixel. That could be, I mean, if we could push the scanner a little bit further out, but it won't go further. So no. I can't get all three. So these three then? Am I okay with that? Or am I okay with just settling? I might be okay with just settling. Let's count the months. That's more important, right? So this is 8. Also count the money, right? 8, 17, 24, 32. So I got 9 wealth spare. We don't have any techs that increase our scan radius per chance. That's actually important, right? We might want to get those before scanning if we have them. Let's have a look. So that's not a colony. You could be, but you're very expensive to connect. Right? Like this is also an important thing. Regular slipways, half-length slipways, you know, 3 to 6 credits, sure. Full-length ones, they cost 20. I don't want to be paying 20. We can when we only have 40 in the bank. It's half your money gone just to build this one connection. When I could go this way and pay half, right? Yeah, with that, you know, there is a refund, right, for 6 and another 6 if I do get this as well. So we do get 12 refund. I mean, so I do so here as well. And I see a 2-way trade here with another colony, perhaps. Yeah, I think we'll abandon the idea of making this produce more robots from this side, at least for now, right? If we get a tech that allows us to cross streams, which does exist down here all the way. When you unlock relays, you can unlock that for about 60 science. Then we might be revisiting that very much later in the game. But this is, you know, a very simple way of doing the Dender mission. And then the Bakar mission is next, but before doing that, let's connect in as many things as are possible, just to get our income up to about 20, which is a whole lot better than what were we at, like 9 or 8? Yeah, that feels a lot more stable. So now, if I can find a second source of robots, I can upgrade this to produce even more things. That connection can be made, although it cuts off the other forge world for, you know, sending out its second water. Don't know where to send its second biomass if I'm going to upgrade this, like, from here. I could make another one of those things down here. Mechanized harvest is pretty strong, right? All those things that make 2 different resources. I find that those are fairly good options. The other option we have here is producing goods. But this does prevent us from building a lab, which I'm willing to get down here before we're at 16. Ideally, we'll build the lab at around 15 so that you get optimal benefit from not going over to the 16, which is, you know, a pretty hefty hit early in the game, having to suddenly pay 16. Now, we can't afford to build another planet, so we'll have to consume one of the asteroids. Question is which one? This one will be leaving out quite a few planets if I say so myself. Right. There's also the option of scouting up to 3 times, which is a bit much. For the end of the year, October is a bit like that, where you... now we do get 22 credits, right? So we actually have an effective 31. So if I build this, well, 29, right? Because we have to pay the 2 upkeep. Will I be able to get enough planets surrounding our existing ones in order to use these asteroids efficiently? I think so, right? Main problem with this is that this is going to make robots. Where is it going to get its human? Because if this is making robots, then this is probably a mechanized harvest. Where's my human, right? Where is human at? I don't find it. Now, there's also something we said for making a microchip, because that can combine here with the ore to make robots or goods. Which, come to think of it, is probably what we want to do, a microchip here. Which then enables us to do this asteroid. For, you know, keeping our money alive. Yeah. So we'll start with the water extraction. Which completes both missions. So I can now look at new missions. Are we good with this? Sure, I'll commit. So, we get another exploration mission. This time even further down there. So that is maybe too far away. Right? That is quite far. That's 2 more planet hops away. Which are going to be kind of struggling planets if I build them. Not great. So let's take the 2 other missions then, right? And then it should be fine. We can grab some food while doing this. So, going on, one more step to the path of domination. I made the decision, committed. So, I'm gonna make 3 robots and it's less than 4, right? It's making a better deal. Trying to get me to sign on to the robots. And we have to colonize a bunch of different types. So this connection is 7. And I had a way of doing one of these. This one with chips, right? It leaves that open for a bit. I might just as well throw that in, actually. There's also be said for settling this arid. If I'm going to be doing that, can I afford both of them? 8 and another 8. 16. Yeah, just about. I can still afford a scan. In actuality, these scans tend to pay for themselves through our car perk. You know, this one just did. Which gives us some more information as to, you know, what do I want to do where, right? So if I take goods, right, I'm going to be precluding my science. But, you know, later on when we get either relays or something else, we might be able to fix this in some other way. Or maybe with, you know, extreme miniaturization or something. So that leads me to doing goods here rather than the other option. And just build this arid out. And there's food here. Which is going to, you know, this jungle, we wanted to maybe do mechanized harvest. Yeah, you know what? Leaving this for now, because I might want the bot here, means that I can use this asteroid instead. It seems better. I'm thinking about it some more. Well, in the correct order, I cannot build my slipways first then. Goods factory from ore. Important that you choose the correct one. October and then November, December. Right, and then, you know, we end up fairly close at the end of the year. Problem with this, though, is if I make this connection, I mean, I'm still not being able to do an ore lab. Which does, the problem with not doing the ore lab, of course, is it's the only lab we get. Right, so do I just leave these boxes on the table? No, right? So is there just a way to make robots here then? And just send one here? No, it's got to be here because it's a double two-way trade. What am I talking about? This would be an amazing source of robots. So yeah, goods are the only thing we can make, but... Or I could just not, you know, just not build the science lab from ore. And just go with these resources. It seems iffy. And I could just leave the boxes on the table. That's fine. Or go with, you know, 2 less science. Go with 3 science instead of 5. Feels kind of meh to go for only 3 science from a lab, though. That feels kind of poor. I think I like doing the big lab of 5 over the 3 lab. Although, you know, this... No, wait. This can't get food then. Maybe it is no lab, then I could do biomatter instead, actually. Over in this area. Seems better, actually. Because I'll have the spare biomatter, right? We were wondering, like, what am I going to do with the biomatter? I know what I want to do with the water, but if I'm going to be making biomatter here as well, then yeah, that seems like the better option. So we just send the good in here then, in order to get some more money. And then we want to make a food here. Yeah, remember, we need to count these different types of planets, right? We didn't do this one before we took the mission, so this is one more for the count. And then make the mechanized harvest. Sending it in. So now it's, you know, it's satisfied as well. Got these two plants with a lot of people on them. Well, we'll find a use for them. We'll find a use for them. We'll throw down some laboratories. Don't worry. Now, you might think, oh, well, now we're running out of wealth. Yes, but we got some explorers that it can use to keep our wealth going until the end of the year. Hopefully, right? That's the idea. And then I can see if, you know, do I need to do this? Can I do this as robots? I sure hope I can. Yeah, there's 5 here. Ooh, that don't look too good, though. There might be this connection. That's slightly out of range, right? We don't have any slipway length upgrades. We do have mass lensing available to us. So if I float this and get mass lensing, it would be possible to connect it in. Float a robot here. If I turn this into a lens, then this person could go and provide the robot producer with some, you know, stuff. Then, you know, the laboratory can go up in the corner here, and it still works out. Although, you know, at a bit more cost. Quite a bit more cost, in fact. Also, because we've just revealed only asteroids, we're now in the unenviable position of having to take one of these asteroids preemptively if we don't want to lose, you know, 3 months of time. Which, yeah, that I can't turn the clock back either because I explored. And I wasn't ready for the whole lot of nothing we found. Well, that was another whole nothing. So yes, so this is going to have to float if it's going to make a robot. Yeah, that, I don't know about that. Maybe there's some other direction we can make a robot from, right? It sure isn't looking like it. Sure looking like a lot of void here. A lot of empty space. I might want to... I might have wanted to do this connection actually because it makes a lot of money. But leaving it open might still have us do an ore lab. You know, if there's no other way. Although, you know, down here might be better for it in the end. Yeah, I'll commit to that. Seems okay. So then what do we do, right? We'll get the robot anyway. I need a person in here to supply the second robot. And I need science to do the person. So this is sort of a catch-22, right? I think we need to leave this connection open in order to do an ore lab anyway. Because the lack of a person means that I cannot... Like, if I build the robot, I cannot get the biomatter from here. Or there, for that matter, because I sent both in there. But, you know, that's just a case of order. And actually, I did it before the scan, so we can't. So I guess we have to do... I was hoping I could position this correctly, but maybe not. Ooh. Yeah, there might not be a place. Well, that's interesting. Look, we cannot... I can do 3, right? But... Yeah, we cannot do... it more than once. Actually, interesting. Okay. Well, then that's gotta be made. So then we just can get 2 science from ore? That can't be right. Well, this seems better. Right, just use the human for an internal connection. I'll figure out something here. I could check this forebear structure, which usually they provide, like some of the time they give some sort of resource option, which could then decide, you know, since there's like a lot of plants of the same type here, that looks like a good location to build our laboratory. Although, you know, we're out of planets, so we're going to have to build it after 16. A bit of a late lab. Energy, huh? Energy doesn't help with the laboratory is the problem. But I guess 34 spare cash does, right? In trying to set it all up. Main issue, we have to find some kind of people producing planet down here. Because we only really have 1 spare person here. Maybe I can throw it in, make it successful. Oh, we get another one. No, we get another one. We get an extra person. I cannot afford to buy the person and send it though. So maybe instead of doing that, we build the water as our 15th planet. Because it has 2 connections and it has, you know, allows me to get this asteroid basically almost completely effectively. Getting us about 80 cash, which should get us enough to build this laboratory. Although we're not really proceeding with the missions very well. You know, doing all this other stuff. That's fine though. Which one do I want? Probably the one that's most centered. This might do something else. Although the other one will give us more information from scanning, right? Because it's further out. Might be able to get a better scan. It's 3 with this one. It's still the same 3 with this one. It doesn't matter. We'll do the better one. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, I want that. That is out of range, but you know, we have another potential source of food, so we are safe to build this as a colony. Unlike here, where I kind of took a risk and it blew up in our face. Here we're perfectly safe. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe. It was like, perfectly safe? I'm not sure that that exists, but... And then, yeah, I mean, this is a kind of a longer disadvantages, right? Do I not? So it's kind of hefty, right? At 3 costs a year. So you have to pay that plus the admin costs that are 2 as well. You have to pay 5 to get 6, right? So it might be worth to scan a bit. We'll have to scan anyway. And we won't, I mean, the question is really like, if I set up this lab, is it going to be delayed by another year if I don't scan, right? We'll have to pay another 3 to 6 months for the colonies. And then 7, 8, 9, 10 for the lab, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? So really, we don't have the time to scan, is what I'm trying to get across here. Like, yes, we pay an extra 5, but no, I don't want to not, because I want to be able to place this in. Now, I want to place this in such a way we also get the ocean, even though it doesn't have a person available now. It might get one later, because as it upgrades, it'll create 2 more people. One is going to be sent here, right? But the other one could be sent into the lab, potentially. So I want to have the option. Even though it might be slightly more expensive with regards to the connection here. So 5 science for start, and potentially 2 more. This is now less money because we went to do a bigger empire size. Still though, all the 2-way trades are, you know, making up for the lab a bit. And our income keeps it about the same level. Now, you wanted more planet types. Do we have another planet type they haven't counted yet? So this is actually a pretty difficult mission because we have no Earth-likes, right? There's one less type of planet we can actually get. So there's only 2 types that we haven't seen yet, which is what? Swamp and Arctic. I'm missing like 2, Swamp and Arctic. We already have all our swamps colonized, and I don't see any Arctics or swamps. So we cannot complete this mission right now. The other mission wants us to make robots. I mean, I can make 1 here. I might want to do that once it gets to -7, so I can start trying to sort of hold off on the inevitable penalty that will hit us. Maybe we'll find something that'll allow me to sort of kind of deal with it in time. Like lensing, right? Lensing will do it. So would maybe geothermals. Actually, geothermals will deal with it as well. But I kind of made the chip obstructed. So maybe not. Maybe it's lensing. Lensing to send in the person later. Okay. So there's an arid desert here. We have lots of energy tech, I'm just observing, right? I might just go with a bit of that. For now, though, this would be food. Oh, silly me, I scouted in September. That's never a smart idea. Now we are in October. And we have to pay a lot extra. We wanted to found this. Yeah, 4 extra. And maybe we'll just keep getting some more information. We're at a point in the game where I'm not sure which direction to go in. Getting some more information might be valuable. And I committed, so let's find out. 4 here. And then another 4 here. I'm just going to pace for itself a bit. We end up with 77. So we end up with a nice amount of money in order to do what we want to do. Now, food here, right, feels a little iffy. But food there feels even more iffy. It's like the biomatter is nowhere to be seen. Right, but upgrading this plant is actually fairly important for the money it makes. You can get 5 extra income from it. 3 from this one because it's struggling. +1 from those 2. That's not super important, I guess. Let's connect this robot first, actually. So I don't forget. It's at -6. It could wait 1 more year, but feels as good as time as any. So now, can I do the Dender mission yet? No. Well, yeah. I mean, there's Arctics, right? We discovered some. And the other mission is to make robots. Which, actually, speaking, we could do water laboratory as well. Right, I'm seeing a lot of potential water. I'm seeing like ocean, Arctic. Something already making water. There's a lot of water available. And this one may become successful because of this connection, right? If I make a bot factory here, I can connect it. Actually prospers down here, right? 7 more income from this connection. Sign me up. And also, having done the mission. And now let's do the other mission by just... Is that what I want to do? Do I want to make food instead? Or this might want food. But then again, I'm looking for biomass that I really need to find here then. Like this one particular spot. No, this is a safer option. Colonize new planets. Task complete. New tasks available. Make 8 more ore. Yeah, we just made a lot of ore. We have ore available everywhere. There's some ore I can make here, right? It's 2 out of the 8. 10 people is also quite a bit. We'll eventually get there, right? But it's a long mission. It is a tech discount. Getting an early tech discount, the question is, are the techs we're going to be choosing, are they going to be Dender? Or are they not going to be Dender? Okay, so I got freeze-resistant bots available, potentially. That seems like the way to go. Oh, what am I talking about? A new task is the way to go, right? Or chips and population. So we've got to make stuff. That's going to be the thing. The main question is which stuff. To be honest, right, it's better to do a process of elimination with this than to try to, you know, pick two things. It's more like, which stuff are we not going to make enough of? Are we going to make 6 chips? That's quite a few chips to be making. But, you know, since we have all this energy tech, I think it's going to happen. Because chips are the source of energy. So that's our first pick then. Now, by process of elimination, what's going to be the other pick, right? That's going to be the hard part. Now, if we're going to be making chips, that's going to require ore. But 8 more? Right? Really also almost always going to get population, right? Like in every way, we've used most of the humans in our system. I mean, we can make some here, right? But we'll get some more then, right? That's part of the goal. How many people do we have available? 1, 2, 3, right? And none of them we can use right now. This one with lensing, right? That's it. This one potentially here or here. But we can really only get 1 or 2 people use, and we're going to have to make new ones on new planets. Sounds weird, right? But we're going to have to make more humans. That's what I'm going to getting at. So I think this is those two. Might be mistaken. Perhaps, right? Do we really... Yeah. I mean, we have disease eradication, right? I could disease eradicate into this ocean and use that to gain an additional point of science. It's always good when the tech you pick pays for itself, right? Which in this case, disease eradication will. Will freeze-resistant bots pay for itself? I mean, not really. There's 2 ice balls I can see, but none of them are near a robot. This one might be. That one might be, but it's so far out of the way and not next to anything else that probably this part of the galaxy is going to be our empire's boundary for a long way to come. I do see a bunch of asteroids in this direction, but more likely to scout to the left than I am to the right. It's also a good thing to note where the black hole is. Try to keep near the black hole, because generally speaking, planets are going to be closer together near the black hole than they are far away. Like the planet density is going to be lower here. This is a general rule though. It's not going to be true in any game in particular, right? It's still random, so it still might be a bunch of planets far away. That just might happen. But we're at 22. We're going to be hit by the next upkeep cost too. If I'm not careful, it's going to happen right near the end of this year, and we're going to have to pay an extra 24. That feels a bit rough. So I might want to try to set up a laboratory this year to do that. But if I do so, right now I feel comfy having 100 money. But if I do set up this lab, looking at my income, it's 35 and about to go down by 24. If I set up a lab, that's another 9. So I'll go down to 2 income. That's very risky. I'll run out of my money in no time. As the game goes on, things get more and more expensive too. Just because of things being farther apart, having to build more slipways, and those being more expensive than colonizing new things in general, makes it a bit... This colony here, right? It can get food from there as well together with this. And it wants water. There's just so much water here that this is just a great planet to build, just to consume all the water that we're making. I think this is going to be our final planet then. That could be energy. It might be. Right? Energy in place of water here. Or energy to make goods, which can go into 2 places. Sending that sends it to water though. Makes it prosperous, right? That's cool. I'll take that one instead though. Maybe we'll build a laboratory. Good in general. Now, what are you at? -5. And you're at -3. So... like, I'm also going to have to worry about, you know, tech advancement. That if I take 2 techs in tier 1, I'll lose access to tier 0. So if you want the techs in tier 0, and I do want disease eradication at the very least, the question is, do I want the solar farms? If this is going to be a colony, there's one here potentially. I definitely want the geothermals, I think. It's not this one though. This one's good. It's got a robot ready for it, just needs a chip. There's this one here that could be... it has no chips yet. Like, we have to make 6 chips as well, right? So I was just like looking at this like, should I be making people here, right? Shouldn't I be making energy here? Because if this is chips, right, the cool trick with energy is that you can supply the thing that's supplying your chips energy, and then, you know, do this kind of thing. Yes, we don't get the lab, but again, like, I didn't have the money for the lab in the first place. So you know what? Let's actually do this and build ourselves a solar farm instead. Which then gives me motivation to go for the mission. Now, doing the mission here does get us over the threshold of number of plants. So can I set this up in some way that, you know, I still get the good income for a year or so? I try to do some other things this year, right? Set up, you know, this exploitation of this asteroid, for example. Set up this energy, because, you know, I have spare cash. Can I get an energy into the laboratory? I can't. But I still have this extra energy, right? I could send, for example, I could send one here. Right? Just drive you with only energy. If I can send in 2 energy to the same planet, I can upgrade it further. Well, as long as I can use the chips for something, of course. Which I can, right? I can use 2 of the chips, so it can become successful. That's nice. And then this other energy could make this water planet successful, so we don't need to make water in this primordial. Or, alternatively, it can supply the biomatter for here, which we're going to need. Very likely, we're not going to be able to find any. So I should float this energy, not use it. Like, keep it, and it can go either here, or there, depending on, you know, how things turn out. This water, though, is a bit spare now. Because I did build it just to complete a mission, which in the end is unnecessary. But I mean, there's still potential for a water lab, right? It's just not going to be in the same place. So now we've got some extra months. So I was like, you know, what am I going to do with those extra months? Scouting seems like a, you know, an option then. To get to October, ideally. Make our money back too, so it's not all bad. Those are some robot users. The swamp can use a robot to make food. The food can go into the ocean world. The ocean world can take it ore from here. Can a laboratory reach the other ocean world? It can, right? Long connections, it's fairly expensive, but we can still do a lab with 2 water. Potentially 3, if this jungle ends up producing mechanized harvest. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Another scout, another potential water producer. But, you know, this planet I'm not so particularly happy about. It has no real good places to send its stuff to. Biomass is also possible. Leading me back to using this as a colony. So interesting, right? You go back on yourself a lot. Doing a colony here, taking the water, taking an extra water. We gave up on making this prosperous by doing it this way. For a while at least, but yeah, so colony, water here, water there, two water lab. Although, you know, the income, right? Perhaps not. Perhaps consider the other lab later. Try later table. Although, you know, it is a lot of water, but it can't reach itself. It's the main issue. And of course, you know, risking that seems... No. Okay, so one more scan is available. Let's look up here, actually. I wanted to see if we could get some freeze-resistant bots here, right? If that would be the optional second tech. Or if it's going to be perhaps disease eradication. I think it's going to be... it could be freeze-resistant bots as well, right? We could do the water here instead. I mean, there's another ocean, right? There's oceans everywhere. Ocean man everywhere. Again, though, you know, the ocean colony is available with the two-way trade. Down here, this ocean feels like a colony to me. The forebear ruin being available immediately for it. The food being available for it. The ore being available for it. It's like it's a nice closed system. So, how are we going to advance from October? I think fixing the issue plants is our next priority. Let's at least get you done like this. And then I probably want the information here, right? To see, are we going with this colony, or I'm going to send the energy in here and, you know, be done with things. That changes things, doesn't it? That is the biomass we're looking for. The biomass we're looking for in order to do what exactly? To make you established, then make you supply the biomass, send the food back, send in the water. 1, 2, 3, Bob's our uncle, right? Or can we do it with less planets, the same thing, more efficiently with energy? Because I think, you know, yeah, this is nice and all, you know, making biomatter, making humans. I mean, it is part of our goal to make this humans, right? But the thing is, I'm only using one of the humans. I mean, I could use the other one here is the point, right? And the third one for a lab. It's not terrible. In any case, let's do this connection for the extra science before I forget. It's now available, right? So, because this is out of range, right? Yeah, I imagine so. I think we'll do the breeding program. Maybe I needn't have taken the arid thing, but I can do breeding and energy, right? I don't have to do a human here if I so desire. So keeping clawing back. So if I make humans here, right? If I do that, I get to use one of them. Not two of them. Yeah, okay. It's a. Then should I not take the solar superconductors? Question mark. Can I go back to when I took the solar? I cannot. I scouted a bit. Yeah, but I only found out that I didn't need to take it after I scouted, right? So it's not a mistake in general, right? To go back on, oh, you know, we found the one thing, right, that, you know, makes us not need the solar superconductor, because if we didn't, then no, I would have been happy, and I can still. Quite a few useful things here, right? And that. Also, right, before I connect the science first, right? because I did undo that. You have 19 science. I can get mass lensing. Do I need to get it? No, I have exactly enough time to first get disease eradication if I want it. Do I want that? Like, if it's available, if it's useful somewhere, right? That's more important. Is it useful somewhere? Can I use it to make planets happy? Or yeah, does it just mean I get an extra human and it isn't really useful? Yes, here. Right, it's useful here for 2 extra science. Let's get it. Use it immediately. It's also progress towards the mission, right? Eight science. I cannot send energy there. I mean, it could get energy driven industry for 20 to gain an additional science there, but seems iffy. So now I can use this energy to upgrade any planet I want, right? Can be this human producing planet for goods. Or I can just be like, oh wait, I can't. I already sent one there, right? Right, but I can also send it down an existing connection, which saves us the time from having to make a connection. I think though, making more planets successful, especially ones that can be connected into enough things that, you know, it can potentially help making things prosperous as well, seems like a good idea. Especially Zalgo 6 over here seems like a good candidate, because it can connect, become successful, and then get an additional connection from this colony using its last person. And then we can wonder, you know, would it be a good idea to get disease eradication here? Potentially. I could also look towards doing this colony here. It being, you know, our ticket to these forebear ruins. I have this asteroid available. I'll be doing it at exactly the end of the year though, right? Could I perhaps give up on... Okay, so wait, this connection here is fine, right? But perhaps I should give up on that connection in order to do a two-way trade first. Because it makes more money in this order. And we can just about afford it to go and grab the forebear ruin before the end of the year. We can add cultural exchange. Do we have a good location for cultural exchange? If we do, we should consider it. Because establishing a base just makes some biomatter here, which there's no use for biomatter here. What am I going to do with biomatter there? There's an ocean which never accepts it. There's a remnant which never wants it. There's this and that never want it. I mean, perhaps in the very late game you could use infraways to pipe it somewhere, but I mean, do we see anyone using biomatter? Like, yeah, 2 remnants, like all the way on the other side of the Empire. I guess one here, right? Still fairly far away, but not ridiculously far away like the other 2. There's one here, there's a 60 distance, so that would be 2 relays. 47 again, 2 relays. Just to get it somewhere. Yeah, it's very likely we're going to get, you know, culture exchange at it. Especially if we can find some way to use it. So this with a relay. This just in general. Immediately. This with a relay. There's like 3 places it can be used, right? Making us 5 or 6 culture. 5 or 6 extra resources seem worth it. To me at least. First though, we've got a priority. Fixing Atwood. So mass lensing it is right now. Right, which might, oh, an interesting fact, mass lensing, right? It seems like, you know, it's in every single way very inferior to getting, let's just have a look, to getting the slipstream relays. But one thing mass lensing does allow you to do is it saves you 20 resource points on getting yourself access to infraspace mastery. You can skip regular relays now and get infraspace immediately and just not bother with these. Instead go for, say, some tier 3 techs or tier 2 techs that, you know, really catch your eye, which in our case would be perhaps, you know, miniaturization, drill bots, flexible fab, you know, for reasons stated earlier. Energy-driven industry we now have available if we make a lot of energy, perhaps. There is also something to be said for, you know, cultural exchange, which is another tier 2. And our tier 2 is very busy, so taking this tier 1, so we take more in the mid-game of these like tier 2s, although we already have access to it, so perhaps the argument's kind of moot. Still though, I feel like this is, you know, is a decent choice to make. Now, if I do this right now, I'll be paying 34, but I'll be getting 18 and another 12, so we have 64 cash, right? But we're running a bit lean, right? It's getting a bit close. We use all our money right now. We'll have to pop an asteroid. And we use both of our Forber ruins on getting things, right? Which you typically want them for money, right? Using them both on things. Because since we had a lot of money, it felt okay. But now we don't. So let's pivot back to making money. Because our income is not great. It's only 36. So another lab, not so much. We'll keep using the one we have. It's very good. It's 8 science, right? 8 science is nothing to complain about. Certainly not this early in the game. Oh, it's kind of in the mid-game right now. Our target would be a little higher than 8. But, you know, we're not playing with a Vittori this time, so it's kind of sensible that we make lessons. So, what was I looking at? I was looking at this jungle, right? It's one too expensive to set it up right now, so now it's affordable. I'm also interested in trying to make it so we reveal a little more nodes so we can spend some time scanning if we run out of asteroids. There's a couple more. This one is, I don't know. There's a lot of biomatter available. I might look into labbing that as well. There's also something to be said for just labbing this water with disease eradication. That's for later concern though. We want some money first. Culture exchange actually is a very good way of making money because the culture does count as a resource that you transform. So culture is really strong, right? It will help you make prosperous planets. It will help you make money and it can be sent anywhere you like, right? Now, it'll only help making prosperous planets if you've actually already sent, you know, most of the other resources to places. So places like here, for example, where we still need water, here where we still need chips, you know, those aren't that valuable to send culture to. But something like, you know, this planet here, Hercules, just send it anything, right? And it'll be prosperous just because of, you know, our perk, making it, you only need 5 things. Or send its water anywhere, but it can't, right? A lab would also make it prosperous. This one wants some more partners, right? It doesn't have any. I mean, it could send it one more, right? I do have this asteroid available, which will pay for it. It'll spend a few more months. Yeah, sure, why not? And then we'll make the food. Oh, we'll end up actually using the entire year to do that. Yeah, sure, let's continue. Another prosperous planet here. It's like things start to get prosperous in the center of your empire once you start connecting things up. Which is nice, right? Very nice. And also, prosperous planets that are sending culture or receiving culture give you more happiness. It's another thing that culture does, right? It does everything. It does happiness, does money, it does prosperous. It's all the good stuff. Now, yeah, some people are spamming. Can we just... Yeah. Yeah, the bots are getting through Twitch's protection, I suppose. Yeah, no thanks. Please, no. This UI could be better. Maybe I should find some kind of... There's probably loads of people that made stuff for this platform. Well, I don't know. Can I just... Oh, I can just click some other random button, right? No, that won't get away. If I just click away, then it'll... Yeah, that'll work. Okay. The UI problems. UI blindness. It's a blessing and a curse. Yeah, I'm not interested. So here's a thought. 6 chips needed. This can produce 2 immediately. Only 1 remaining. Can it consume 1? Yeah, a colony here. Look at that. That makes people. We need some more people. Only food remains. But, you know, being this close to the center, is there gonna be some food here? It's quite likely. We'll go over 32 though. That'll hurt. Right? We keep struggling against the income. We need some cool text to break us free of the stranglehold that the administrative costs are having on us. You know, still, even this late in the game, I mean, that's tough for you, right? You gotta keep... You've got to try to outpace the game, and you've got to try to use most of the things, most of the resources, really, to the maximum extent possible. So maybe I should look around a bit and see if I can't make some more internal connections with the time I've got. Because I do have a bit of money now. Slipways are expensive, especially long ones. But making internal connections, you know, doesn't advance administrative costs at all. So that makes them valuable. I don't really see any though. I think we've done a pretty bang good job of staying on top of this, making sure that most of the possible internal connections have been made. I mean, I just saw 1, but you know, that sort of puts a damper on things, but it makes you think, well, maybe there's more. I don't think there's many more. I don't see any, at least. I mean, if I hadn't used robots as people, which is a thing. Oh, that's interior 3. Oh, we don't have it, actually. I think Silthit provides that, as well as Vittori. I know Vittori provides it. I don't think it's a Vittori exclusive tech. Let's put it that way. So I wanted to make some more microchip. There's also the potential for a microchip lab, again later though. I'll make some microchip. Getting us to 5. Oh, we'll get to 31 actually if I just leave this hanging. I think I will. Task complete. Swap it. 1 short, right? If I put in some water, we'd get it. But, you know, at what cost? At a price too high to pay, I think, is the answer to that. We could do something really fancy and slip way in twice, but then we're paying so much for the slipways that maybe we have to pay the 32. That's 32 a year though, right? We're paying 17. And then this connection. How much is this connection? 33. Well, that's hefty. 1733 is what? 50? 50, right. And then 57 and then 2 more, 90. You're paying 90, right, to stave off the inevitable. I don't think so. Now, is there another way of getting water? That's out of range. You would be in range, right? But, I mean, you're not the target. You could make more people in here, but you're not the target. Can I actually do a disease eradication? I cannot do disease eradication on a non-established planet. Some of these early game projects you can do on just any planet, but apparently not disease eradication. This would be great for solar farms if it, you know, could access some chips. Because it has a robot available, right? Which will mean that as a solar farm, this will provide lots of energy. 2 energy, in fact. It'll be as good as Starbirth is, which we don't have available, right? So Starbirth is a very strong tech, allowing you to make stars that provide 2 energy out of all of the planets that, you know, normally don't do anything for you. It's, of course, it's a tier 4 tech, right? That should be obvious. I think I want to end the year right now. I might also be looking into making a chip lab, in fact, if that could increase the production. In lieu of, you know, because of some places sometimes need to consume their chips. But all of them need import routes. So no, that don't work either. I could burn my income. I'd rather not. I'd rather have an extra year of income because of wanting to do cultural exchange, which needs people producing planets. We're one sign short of being able to afford it, right? Because we have a Dender discount, which makes it only 18, which is very nice, but we have 17. Can't you cost 17 for me this once? Also, you can lens asteroids as well. Right, lensify them, turn them into slipways relays. Is there something we can do on the edge of the Empire with our lensify? It's always a good thing to look at. And like the ice ball over there. There's lava over here, perhaps. Oh wait, I see an internal connection. Look at that. A very good one, in fact. Oh, there was one. There was one. I didn't see it for I don't know how many years. It did cost 15 though, right? So, but it does make you 8 money. It doesn't, you know, it didn't really work for any of the missions we were doing at that point. But yeah, look at that. We now have a spare biomatter as well. The water immediately got sent here. Am I happy with that? Sure. Now go ahead, send that water. Seems fine. Makes you successful as well. I'm still looking for this, you know, extra chip here. There is a tech that allows you to make chips, or yeah, microchips on ore producing worlds. We don't have that. It is in tier 2, I believe, and it costs like 26. It's like the most expensive tier 2 tech for fairly obvious reasons, I would suppose. Look at that, there's another one. It's out of range though. But, I mean, I could lensify the ocean world if I wanted to, right? Send a chip in here. It doesn't really help though, because this wants water. But maybe I can lensify. I can't reach it with the Arctic. Could I perhaps, right, if I try to do these things before 3417, try to go over the limit in 3417, so I have enough wealth saved up to do our cultural exchange things, which are also going to fall into that year, then, I mean, I could set up the science right now. Maybe I should. I think I should, actually. This feels like a good time to do that. This seems like a very good lab. We go down by 9. I think I can sustain this. Barely, but no. That's 5 science. I think that's the best spot. Can we see if we can do better? Maybe we can, right? We can pixel hunt. This is a thing I've actually asked for a suggestion for too. Is like, if I could just see what the connections cost, I could, you know, pixel hunt just by controlling things. We had 12 money, right? Let's see if we can do better this time. Moving it up a little bit, a smidgen. It's still 12. Maybe the game is programmed in such a way that you can't do this. Although I struggle to, you know... Now we have less money. So it does matter, right? Let's try to move it down some then. Move it there. It would make the most sense, right? That we're, you know, at the closest total distance. 13, there you go, right? More money. Can we do even better? Maybe I can do even better by making this connection just plain straight. We're down to 11, so that was the best spot. This matters very slightly on the highest difficulty levels. It's mostly to do with the rounding of how much money a lab costs, but you can see that we can end up with either 9 or 11 or 12 or 13 money. I haven't seen more than that, but you can spend some time pixel hunting. It's just that you have to build everything every time in order to find the optimal pixel. While, you know, if, you know, my idea is that the Alt key, let me just use an asteroid here just to demonstrate. Right, my idea is that if we hold the Alt key here, for example, let me find a spot with just one planet, like here, I would be able to see the Slipway cost. So it would be like 20 here and 3 here. I wouldn't have to guesstimate, because it's a fairly complicated formula, right? It's not like it's straight up just minimize the distance, in which case, you know, just sort of eyeball the center of gravity, and that's where, you know, the optimal point is. It's more complicated because you've got rounding to consider, right? If you find something that costs 4.9, then essentially you're getting a 0.9 credit discount, which doesn't sound like a lot, but, you know, multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 5 connections, and, you know, another 5 here, that adds up. So yeah, I would love to be able to do that, to just not have to worry about eyeballing this as much. We go to October, and we find ourselves a 4-bar ruin here, which is quite fancy. Now, more importantly, I would like to lens this in. Right? Maybe I want to find this planet over here, because it will most certainly be in range of both sides. And it'll have me not have to make another food planet. And of course also the ocean, you know, being available for water export as well. Let's get the information first. It seems so expensive. Also, do I want the geothermals? I said I wanted them. Do I still want them? I kind of used all these mineral worlds fairly effectively. There's one spot here, but it has no chips. There's one spot here, but again, it has no chips. And I would have to, I mean, I could get this chips fairly easily, right? So this would be a good geothermal plant. If I take the geothermals, can I still take cultural exchange next year? Yes, right? And taking these cheaper techs advances our tech tree quicker, which means we're more likely to get in for space mastery, which I'm looking at our science progress. We've only got 13. We might have to take a cheaper tech in order to get there on time, right? We would need 3 more techs to get there, to get access to infraspace. Which I very much would like to do it because of all the problems it could solve here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 6 prosperous plants right there because of it. It's probably the most valuable out of all the tier 4 techs, even with it being the most expensive. That being said, so 11, 29, minimum of probably we're maybe looking for enlightenment. 39, 43, 100 something science, right? 105. We've got 9 more years in us, making us 117, 134, meaning that we've got a spare 20-ish science we can spend. So I can take something that's 20 science more expensive than this, potentially, up to 30. Right, so none of the tier 4s, right? We can't take a second tier 4 with our current science. We would have to build a 3rd lab if I wanted 2 tier 4 techs, if one of them is in for space mastery. So we'd be looking at, you know, do I want to take the 3 cheapest techs? Or am I interested in something like, I guess, up to about this level, up to this separator? So is flexible fabrication good, right? Yeah, it is, right? I mean, this connection. Yeah, this, and that. Anything more? Oh, and that for the goods. Can I solve this good? Yeah, and that. Okay, yeah, flexible fabrication it is. So it's not enlightenment. So I want flexifab very badly. Over enlightenment, that's another 11 science, right? So what we really only have available to us, you know, given that reasoning, I said I had 20 available. I really only have 10 extra science, right? So the only techs we really have to consider are anything costing less than 21, if I should take the geothermals or not, with respect to wanting infraspace in the late game, which would be in extreme miniaturization. That is also, you know, something that's very much good for setting up energy, because extreme miniaturization uses ore, which we have plenty of in our empire. Right, there's ore everywhere. There's ore here, there's ore there, there's ore here. There's all these places wanting chips. So it's like another tech I'm like, I want this, right? I want all of it. So we have to make a choice. I think the choice falls down on, it's not geothermals. It's just not. This is cool, yeah, but I mean, a microforge can do the same thing and it can do it better, right? Because a microforge isn't a planet. It doesn't increase our empire size and end up costing us a lot of money. If I wanted to build all these energy planets on top of our 30 planet empire already, I think we're running out of cash in the late game to do infraspace mastery very well. Because remember, infraspace mastery, infraspace lanes are about 50% more expensive than your regular slipways, and slipways get more expensive over time as well due to slipspace overload, which we are now already incurring in effect. So I think it is those three techs that we're most interested in. So we'll be going extreme miniaturization, cultural exchange, flexible fabrication, infraspace mastery. That's the plan, right? Always have a plan, even if it's not very good. It might not be very good, but considering that we're not considering adding much more planets, our asteroids are now basically available for the taking, right? I'm not that fussed about building more planets because I'd like to stay at 31 for as long as we feasibly can. Even if that means, you know, taking a bit longer on our missions, it's fine. You know, this is fine. I will take extreme miniaturization before cultural exchange though. We don't have to take this now. And this will allow me to get my mission done now, right? How are you doing? 4%? Again, I can wait on that too if I wanted. So I've spotted a very good one right here. Yeah, this one. So these microforges, they take 2 months to build. They cost 20. They're definitely not cheap, but you can build them right next to planets. Making the slipways, ooh, I can maybe optimize this a little bit. Let's put this here. Yeah, and they produce 2 chips, right? Which, now that I have microforges, any task that tells us, you know, build chips, great, let's take it. Unfortunately, our tasks right now are, well, I don't want to say they're bad, but they're pretty bad. Like, I don't want to discover 13 planets. It's a lot. I don't have enough signals available to do that, right? I've got 4 here, maybe 3 planets here. I've got maybe 2 more planets in me here, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'd be iffy, and it would consume a whole year to do this mission. Get a forge world to prosperous though? That is possible. But I'm afraid if I take the scouting mission alone, that'll have to waste a whole year. Now, I could wait, right? There's an option of waiting until 3421, at which point you can take only 1 task and only do that task. I don't want to colonize 10 different types of planets. I can't colonize 10 different types of planets because there are no Earths. Like, that's an impossible mission. It's mission impossible right there. Although, is it? I do have solar superconductors, so I can colonize a desert. So it's not exactly impossible, but it's, I mean, it might as well be, right? There are exactly 10 different types. I would have to be incredibly lucky to find enough types of planets to do this mission. And, you know, I'm completely tanking my income, not allowing me to do the things we plan to do, which is going to be probably more points than even the reward. The reward is 15, which is 750 points, which is equal to about 2 extra prosperous planets, give or take. Slightly more than that, 2.5. Colonizing 10 planets, though, that also takes 3 years of time. I don't think it's this mission. I don't think it's this mission. I could, right, perhaps do it. but I'll have to take a lot of penalty for it. I do get 60 credits for it though, right? And 2 science. So is 60 credits going to make up for the fact that we're going to lose out on 32 credits for about 3 or 4 years, probably? I might end up going for a vast empire once I upgrade what I have, but I don't think I want to go for it now. I think we let these missions sit. And then once I get a prosperous forge world, I'll think, you know, should I be taking them or not? Right now, I think it's better to concentrate on the finer things, the more valid things. So I'll just fix hope here. Getting it. Should I do that now? It's fairly expensive to do. I might earn more money by building more of those microforges that we unlocked. We used one, right, in a very good spot where it was like, you know, that spot is so good. Just for that one, I'll take the tech. But there are more spots, right? There are more locations. Here, for example, I can make 2 more science by building a microforge. I won't be able to use the other chip. I still think this is an acceptable location. It's not as good as the previous one. Also, I really should be holding the Alt key and trying to make this line as straight as can possibly be. I might be, you know, able to... 2 3s. Okay, perfect. It's the minimum cost. It can't be less. Go up to 7 science. Also, something interesting to find out, right? If anyone wants to math this, maybe I'll do it. Is this 20% overload pre or post rounding? You might be asking, what is he saying? So the game can do 2 different things. It can do either compute your cost, round it, overload it, then round it, or it can do compute your cost and then overload it and then round it. Does it round twice or once? I can find out by finding a number that cannot be rounded to. So let's say our slip lane costs 10 normally. If it's overloaded by 20%, it will go up to 12. And then in the case of rounding last, it can be any number. In case of rounding twice, it can go 10 to 12. So 12 is an available number. 9 to 11, no, 10 point something. So 10 is an available number, right? But 11 is not available as a number. So if we cannot build 11 cost slipways right now, yes, I'm correct, then it rounds twice. And we can, so it rounds once. The more you know, right? It's like, you know, what, where, who? How do you do that? We use the power of math to find out some less than useful knowledge, I suppose. Do I have another, you know, decent-ish microforge? I suppose this one, right? Let's build this one too. Why not? I think it's another successful planet like so. I have to want to build it close because I, you know, want to make sure that I have my flexible fabrication available to build my robot. Oh, for there, of course, right? And then I want to make sure that I have the water connection available there. Might not want to build it. I can, by the way, pre-build these culture connections too, right? Because they will apply next year. Let's build one of them at least. So now if I take cultural exchange, there we go. We start generating this new resource, which can be used to upgrade things. Like this ship world, for example, really. Like it wants another ore, but I mean, it could get it from infraspace later, right? I have to think of infraspace as well while I'm doing this. Future infraspace areas, in general, right? I mean, this can also be infraspace, right? So anything that has infraspace as its solution, we should not fix. Now, what about this one? This one will be a lot harder to do. It's already receiving 3 people and producing a bunch of ore. So it just needs partners. Okay, so that's not really something we're looking into. You need goods with no way to get them. There's enlightenment available, right? If I want it. Can I afford it as well as infraspace? I'll have to look. We did make 2 more science, so we did go up in numbers. Enlightenment's only 14, so it might be feasible to get it anyway. It might also be feasible to just, you know, build a forge world and in the last year and take the vast penalty then, and then just connect it in instead of having to build enlightenment. Enlightenment, you know, of course it builds instantly since it's a project, but if we can solve most of our people goods needing worlds without enlightenment, then I might skip out on it and save the science to do other things with. This one wants a good which it can get from there, though it also wants it there. So where do I earmark that? Right, this one maybe here. You know what? I want to know what this forebear ruin is. Let's find out. Because I think it's actually important that I know, and I think I have the money available to use it this year. I mean, I'll have to do this eventually, right? What happiness is that? -5? Yeah. I mean... Wait, am I missing out on something here? I am, right? Why did I not do these connections? I have no clue. So we end up slightly earlier in the year. So at 91. The order might matter here. Because prosperous planets do trade for more. Yeah, 96. See, that makes 5 more money doing it. Well, the order is important there, is what I'm trying to get at, right? Trying to max out money and science. And, you know, not pre-build the cultural exchange when I can build it now. So, you know, you get 2 culture to start off with. Do I got more? No. But, you know, with infraways, we can get more, right? I still don't need to get slipway, what's the word? Slipstream relays. We can just infraspace only. It might be a little bit more difficult to get certain things in certain places. Like here, for example, this water, right, might go along the edge. Although, are you out of range? Yeah, you are. It's unfortunate, right? I'd like to get a successful planet here. I don't know if I can get this to prosperous. If I give it a culture, yeah, it's got 5 imports, right? But it needs 3 successful partners, right? There's 1, 2. This would be number 3, but it doesn't have a person. I don't know if I'll be able to get this to prosperous, actually. It seems hard. It seems really hard, actually. This seems fairly doable, seems fairly easy, in fact. This one I've kind of worked my way into a corner here because it's consuming energy. A planet that's consuming energy can only receive energy. It cannot receive ore, right? So, you know, even though I've got a mountain of ore available, I can't send it in here. So I think because this wants a second import route before it can even become successful in the first place, I'll send it a culture. So now it has its import routes, just wants its export routes, which, what? Didn't think that far? Sure didn't. But there is another option apart from FlexiFab, which is to do universal miniaturization, which allows me to make goods in the microforges. Right, so this can be solved with a microforge. This can be solved with a microforge. This can be solved with not a microforge. This can be solved with a microforge from up here. and this one can't be solved by a microforge. So we leave 2 with that option. And also, of course, not having flexifab means I can't do, you know, the amazing thing I thought of here. I think it's rather flexifab over upgrading the microforges. Like, I would love to do both, of course, but I think I'm running out of science. I mean, might just not go for infraways and just try to fabricate our way to victory, right? What are we leaving on the table if I don't take infraways? I mean, all these ore worlds, right? Yeah, I think not, right? Could I get both, right? I would so love to get both. Could we get some late game science? Like research some robots or something. Which we have spare. Remember, I still have disease eradication available to make more humans in various places. So researching robots is not entirely off the table. It's just going to be more infraspace, which means, you know, more money, more costs. If we can just research the 1 robot, I'm not that very interested in it. If we can get 2 or 3, perhaps, right? It's going to mean an additional tech. It's also going to mean more costs, so it's not, you know, entirely... What is sending it here do? Successful, okay. I mean, this makes the most sense, right? It's the same situation. Where is this going to get it? No, not entirely, right? This is going to make 1 more ore for sending it to here. But maybe there are other better uses for it, right? If I'm going to do the microforge thing, then perhaps I want to make the ore into a robot. And if I do, then the robot goes here and supplies the water which we need for the ore. There's something called a catch-22 there, and that don't work. The order of things does matter, as it turns out, like quite a lot. We got ordered there. Pretty hard. I can also just research like a water, for example, right? Make you prosperous, in fact, by doing that. Do a couple of disease eradications to do that. Which also adds to happiness, right? It's not entirely pointless. 81. Task was to get a forge world to prosperous, right? So I'm still holding off on it. We're still fine. We are fine. This is fine. Consuming water in a laboratory though means it can't go here, which I don't know. I don't think it's water. I think that's the last resource I want to consume because it's the resource we have the least of. Yeah, in fact, yeah, it's definitely the resource we have the least of. I'm just thinking, like, if I make this into a bot using flexifab, I do get an extra bot. I could research the bot instead of sending it in here, right? Which makes flexifab still good here, right? It's still going to make this prosperous in the end. Just not immediately because I need to send the water somewhere. I don't know. Right, the solution of just making it straight prosperous seems better. So what about up here? Like if I flexifab here for the solution, right? It just consumes the bot and makes another one? Or it consumes the thing and makes an extra bot? I could do this. But this bot isn't used anywhere. This bot isn't used anywhere. Like that. But then that would require infraspace, right? Like I want the lab now, not in 100 years. So it's not useful if I require infraspace to build it. So then here still? Could I perhaps... I mean, I could infraspace in the bot, right? I can't lensify. I mean, I could lensify twice, right? Here and here. Use the asteroid to lens. Use this Agamemnon 5 to lens. It's very expensive. It'll do the same thing as the thing we planned. it'll require an additional infraspace relay. It'll be very expensive. I don't know if I can afford it. We have 81 income, right? We'll have an income in total of around 700 to spend on various frivolous things. And it's going to become more as I, you know, complete tasks and do these things. Well, not tasks, but, you know, as I go up in the years and as we connect more things, the income's going to go up a bit. I think it's about time. I think we'll decide. I'll decide to try and build a flexi-fab slash robot slash something laboratory. Oh, I don't have enough room. Does that change things? I don't think it does. Once I get the infraspace, I can also infraspace in more robot, right? So, you know, the robot that's up in the top left can be infraspaced in, and we can just make more and more and more as time marches on using various technologies. And right now, it'll just be the one robot, yeah, but it'll become more, right? This is the Shonen lab. It's going to get better as time goes on. Now just you wait. It's going to overtake the other two. Just you wait. It's going to become good later. It's an investment lab. It's also going to reduce our income a bit to 68. So I don't actually quite have the hundreds of gold that I was looking at. Can I afford to do this? Yeah, that's a good question as well, right? Oh, I looked at... Oh, that's... I keep forgetting that is a thing. If you look at your tasks, you lose the ability to go back in time. Still a bug. Still a thing. And we did the thing. So I now can't. So now I have to spend 3 last months. So, are we going to do the Bakar mission? Now's the time to decide. If we end up with extra time anyway, I might. Like, looking at our income, I might. It's gonna give me 60, right? Let's take the missions now. Because I ran myself out of money. I have to spend my time doing something. And scanning to get my money back might as well be the something. And I might as well, you know, try to get as close to 13 as possible. Maybe we'll get it, right? Maybe all the signals end up being plants and we'll end up being very lucky. We don't have to colonize something. We're at 7. It's getting close. Okay, so now I should be able to afford this fairly expensive thing I wanted to do. Then what's next? Which tech is next? I think it's FlexiFab next. Just for the ability to get science. We do need the extra science if we're going to go for all these techs. And that's 2 more science this year. This is exploitable still. And we're sort of like sticking to the 30 planets. Because I don't think I'll be able to afford any more. For a while at least. With the income we have. We're at 9. Like, we're close, right? We might just be able to get... Let's find out what this is. Chips, huh? That is a connection that exists. Well, I can also just grab it. We can add manufactured luxury to our tech list. Do we have a prosperous forge world yet? We don't. How many do we have potentially? 1, 2, 3-ish? 3? So up to 6 happiness from that. I don't think I'll be able to afford it though. We did have 18 science, right? So our tech is going to be fairly rapid at this point. For a non-Vittori run, that is. Well, that's only 1. Yeah, I'm not that surprised. I could do 2 more. I wish it could give money. That would be the thing I really am interested in right now. Not really any of the random events, other than money. We have some good plans in the center, but it's not quite enough to keep up with the administrative costs on tough. Ooh, 2 more nothings. Yeah, now we ran out of money because of that. Are you? No, you're out of range. You're out of range. This one's also out of range. So skip it is. Questionable skip. In 34.19. Yeah, it's the late game running out of money. That's the disadvantage of going for the science, right? I think we've been a little too greedy in trying to get all these techs. I might have been better off not building this lab and just going for the straight up version and not getting universal miniaturization. But we'll get it now, right? We'll be able to get it now. As well as infraspace mastery. Well, maybe not the infraspace mastery, just the universal miniaturization might be the thing, right? Getting the goods, getting the things, getting the... Like, I'll be able to get this to prosperous by using the microchip on the goods producing microforge. Using it just and using the miniaturization. Wasn't there another flexi fab we could do? There's one here, right? Repurposing, and there we go, a prosperous forge world. Still a Silthtech discount. So that does work on universal miniaturization, right? Yeah, it does. Makes it a little cheaper. That helps. There's also skill up, but that doesn't combine with another thing. There's another one here as well. Well, we can't afford it. We can only spend 2 months doing something. It feels a bit meh, right? But you know, it does fix up our planets. It does gain a lot of points doing that. It feels slow, right? It is, but they are the actions that make you the most money. So they are, in my mind, at least the correct actions for now. Even when it feels a bit iffy to be doing this late in the game, United. The previous runs we've always been sort of just happily building, you know, our way to victory, but not so much in this one. In this one, the money crunch, we kind of offset it early on with our exploration perks and our racial bonuses and our, you know, money for completing the tasks, but we still get hit by it in the late game then, right? You can't prevent it, you can only stave it off. Although that is a forged bear. Yes, it's a pile of bear in a forge. It costs 26 to connect, right? But it's very likely some kind of thing that's worth some money. With 86 income, if it's money, it's probably going to be about 120 money. Even if it's a lower amount of money, it's still going to be what you get in for it. But it could be nothing. Right? All or nothing, let's go. We got money. Let's get the money. 93 cash. We can keep going this year, which is very nice. Okay, so now the Bakar, I'd like to know, right? Do we have to do it, or do we have to expand our empire, or can we somehow get to it? Because if I complete the mission, I might get new missions. That's one planet. Just one more planet will do. Like, let this be a planet. It is. We complete the task. Very good. We managed to get very lucky there. So now we can just do 2 forge worlds to prosperous, right? Can we only pick 1 task? No, we have to pick 2. But now we're in 3420. If we wait 7 months, we only have to pick 1. And these 2 again are difficult. Maybe the ore isn't, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 available. I could colonize that for another 3, 7. Yeah, we can get about 7 ore, right? But getting 10 is a bit... You know, we have to go a bit out of our way to do that. 8 with the event here. I might pick that event up, actually. Let's look at our science, right? Do I want it for science or do I want it for money? If I want it for science, it costs me 42 to get a total of 10 science. Right? Is that 10 science going to make a difference? That's a real point. We're going to want infraways. So 4 years of this is what? 80 science-ish, minus 8, 72, plus 27, 99 science. Wait, how do we get a discount? Sylphid? Wait, what? I thought maybe if you get all 3 at level 3, then you get a discount, but... Is Infraspace Mastery Sylphid? Apparently it is. Yeah, Stream Splitting is as well. That's new. Like, I didn't think that we would get an upgrade. So that changes things. Then maybe I needn't have done this at all. I think this is new. I haven't seen this ever before. Where Infraspace Mastery is cheaper. I've always paid 62 for it. I didn't think you would be able to do this. Stirring my soup. It's getting a little cold. I should really be eating it. So yeah. 50 science. For an Infraspace. So then, with our 99 science, we have 76. We can take a lot more tech. Wait, we have energy-driven industry available, right? What's that going to do? It's a good question. I really only have the one energy here. We ended up not using our energy things at all. So I guess not. It's going to do about all of nothing. Okay, good. So don't have to consider that. What about like these, right? I'll maybe get 50 and 48, like the Elysium project, but will we realistically be able to do the Elysium project anywhere? You don't have disease eradication already, or you know, a thing already. You'll get a chip, you'll get an ore. I'll get a biomatter from there. What's still missing? Chip or biomatter bot. There's a bot missing. How are you going to get a bot? From here? Like I'm looking at, you know, can we get... I think we can get 2 planets for the Elysium project is worth taking. Right? So this is one. I think this one is possible. Then what about this one? It's got water, it's got a biomass, it's got a... it already has a food. It's got an ore available, right? So it's got 3 of those already. Then it's got a bot available too. Is that everything? Wait, hold on. I think it is everything. I think we've got one here already. So like... This is a good tech too for us. Going away from universal miniaturization to pick up the Elysium project and Infraspace Mastery together, right? Meaning where... I should have maybe taken Enlightenment then, right? Because then where are we going to get goods? Which is a bit of a shame. Since we'd be abandoning, you know, potential prosperous worlds. I think it's alright though. Can we get this as well? Right? That might be a bit ambitious. So it's... This is a Dender tech, right? If we could do a Dender... never mind. Oh no, it's already cheaper, right? We've already got Dender at level 3, right? Yeah. Only Bakar is level 2. So only Bakar techs are still expensive, like this space-time aversion. And void synthesis. And drill bots and energy-driven industry are still expensive, which none of them are that interesting. So we always get all these cheap techs. So 98 plus 26 is what, 124? If I get 2 more science, we do get there. Right, that does help. I think it is the science then. Because we may be able to exactly get there. Right, get the Universal Administration and the Elysium Project and Infraspace Mastery all at the same time. Managed to get 2 tier 4 techs and 2 tier 3 techs in a run where I said, you know, we're going for 1 tier 4 tech. Turns out we manage it somehow. Alright, get the 9 science. Maybe we can even get this one up further if I want to. Using universal. Not quite sure about it yet. You are already all the way up. We can get this now if I want it. I don't know if I want it right now. I could also be looking into... Like, do I want this ocean world? Like, are you going to become prosperous if I do take it? I don't know, right? Because the problem is the good over here. Oh no, wait, there is this ore here, which can make a good for you using universal miniaturization again, right? So you are going to be successful. You are going to be successful. You are going to be in the middle and blocking things if I don't take this ocean. So I want to take this ocean. I was interested in doing that because I have these slip relays that I could use to connect this one to here, right? Using another relay, like making this into a relay. And that'll allow me to send culture, but it'll block the water, which I don't know if that is a smart move. I could infraspace water, right? And I do have plenty available. I don't know if I have plans for all of them. I have some here as well. If this pops prosperous, does it make more? It does not. So we have 2 available here for, you know, 1 here, 1 there. There's 1 more needed here, which can come from there. So I do have a spare one, right? So I could just infraspace the water up through later. So I think this can be a relay without much problem. And I think I should make it now because, you know, we don't need any text for that, and it'll make quite a bit of money if I just do this, do that, get our culture. So now where does the culture go, right? That's another good question. Ideally to a place where it will be needed to make things prosperous. You know, right? Ideally, I also wait with making Forge Worlds prosperous, because if I do make them prosperous now, I end up making the mission impossible, which that might not be a smart move. So do I wait with this, in fact, right? Because if I wait with this, I can just, yeah, maybe. Oh, wait. Oh, I looked at my. I do that again. I did it again. I looked at my tasks, so now I can't undo. I keep doing that. So looking at here, right? Just in general, you're going to have, oh, just want water, and then you're done for prosperous, right? Because we only need 5 things because we have the Dender perk. But sending culture to prosperous places means those places will become. Oh, you're short. Oh, you're short trade partners. Actually, I can send you. Fine. Because sending culture to places that end up being prosperous will end up... I also have culture dissemination available. I need to compare these two, actually, because this will allow me to make culture using culture. I don't think that's it, though, because we don't quite have enough. If I had 2 culture text, it becomes good, because you need 2 culture in a place to make it, and it's just a little bit too obstructive to do. Like, you would have to send... Like, if I send both culture in here, then I would be able to make 1 more, I suppose, right? I mean, it might be it over the Elysium project. I just like doing the Elysium project. It also generates 2 more culture. I think that's it. I think that, you know, that ends up generating more culture than the culture dissemination. If I can make 2 especially. So where's this other one going, right? Since it's not in particular... I mean, oh, wait, what does culture read like, right? It's like... where do I have it? Negates happiness penalties, prosperous get +1, right? So I want to give every prosperous planet at least 1 culture for the maximum happiness bonus that we could get. So I guess you can have 1. Right? Yeah, just spread it around. Everyone gets some culture. I don't know if I'm doing hyper efficient with my money, because making prosperous planets does increase your income a bit, but you know, you get 5 per resource instead of 4. If I flexifab you now, does that make you prosperous yet? It does not. Okay, so we can keep it. This makes an extra human. I didn't realize that as well. That sort of offsets the bonus a bit. I mean, it does make more money, right? So it's fine. So now I'm like kind of out of things to do. So now I should really be looking into those microforges. I think this one is, you know, the prime candidate. Probably is. So universal miniaturization it is. I'll put it right. I need to be careful that it can actually reach. Right in the center, make goods here. It can reach. I hope it doesn't block too many of my infraways, but... So we can now accept only one task, which is nice. And then I can... This one upgraded, but this one did not. It doesn't have enough partners, right? It needs to send its ship somewhere. Which I guess, you know, in the future can be done with infraways. I'm not too worried about it. I was hoping it could do it now, but... It's not. What do you want, actually? You want more partners, don't you? Yeah, that's the problem with this whole setup here. Again, the microforges are neat for fixing problems, but they do make it more difficult to get your 3 partners. Especially if you only need 5 things instead of 6, right? With prosperity from Dender. Trying to do this thing too fast. And now I don't know where I was. Like, at all. Make you successful. There's no place to send all these humans I'm making here. One thing you can do if you run into that problem late game is you can just plonk down a lab in the last year and send in some humans. Takes care of happiness problems just fine. Inefficient, yes, but works. No reason not to. Right, you can also just found a planet in the last year, even though it's struggling, and use that to make a thing prosperous, and it still ends up gaining you happiness because it's just -1 for a struggling planet. This one would be most interesting because it can be infraweighted in a person, and it can send through a microchip a microchip in here. But maybe the microchip just comes from there, right? That makes more sense. Makes a lot more sense. So let's build more of these, right? I can fix you, for example. It ends up being, you know, quite a bit more money. Can I get one of these forge worlds successful though? Because there are Dender missions to make just any planet prosperous, which those would be doable as well in the late game. It's just getting a forge world in particular now is fairly difficult. I think the only real candidate we have is this one, which wants another import or export. So one way of doing that would be to just put down another microforge. But I want to make sure that the microforge we're putting down is actually useful. Right, which might be a hard sell. If I'm just making chips. I have plenty of those. I mean, I could lap them with the infraways. That doesn't seem like a good idea. That seems like a waste of time. So let's not. I could make a robot instead, but then I'm bypassing it, so what's the point? I want to give you a connection. Or an import or export, right? You're sending your robot here, you're sending a good there. You just want an import or an export. So I could give you some more ore, which is nowhere here. Or I could take away a robot. There's this, right? How expensive is this? Horribly. Horribly expensive. 58 more. Right, so about 110. About a whole year's worth of income to do that fancy stuff. Yeah. That's a bit too fancy. What about getting you? Getting access to another forebear ruin would also... it would involve a disease eradication and an infraway probably to do that. I could also do this. But, you know, we're looking here, right? I mean, I'm now solving that. That's fun, I guess, but it doesn't lead anywhere, does it? Not in particular. I mean, an infraway would lead here. Which, again, this one's a partner, right? Just infraway in an ore, and then we're done. So you're easy with infraways, but not without. There are no other forge worlds, so it, yeah. I think we, in the interest of doing more missions, sort of wasting this ore, kind of, sort of, not really. I mean, I could send it with infraways, I suppose, but it's probably going to be more money than it's worth. Complete the task, right? Because those are worth points. Now look, get two more people producing plants to prosper. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's lots of those. 2 more forge worlds. Do we have 2 more? 1. 2, we do. That's our final mission then, probably. So I can suddenly do 2 more missions, right? Just like, wow, okay. Feels good, right? That feels nice. So now there are... You cannot make more ore. Where was the other... Oh, this can be slipstreamed, right? Yeah. Like infralayed down there. So do we have more microforges I want to build in places? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Yes or no? To microforge or not to microforge? What an interesting question. I mean, remember, these are going to be producing more ore when finally they receive their water, which they've been clamoring for a very long time. So the other option, rather than doing an expensive as hell additional infraway, which infraways are very expensive, right? With 70% overload. Like these microforges, they're nice for fixing things, but they also cause quite a lot of overload because of the high amount of slipstream connections that you need to connect them in. But I think one more over here will do the trick for making some goods here, which we'll be able to get when we get the water. Now, it'll be 2 more years before we get the infraways available. I think it's okay to do this now, though. Right, let's start pre-building some things because we just won't have the time to connect everything in. If I do make it already, it's going to cost me 3 income. But if I just leave it as sit, it will cost me nothing, I believe. Yeah, so I can just plonk it down and be like, you are going to be here later. You know, making some goods. Fine, leave it. Just to, not waste any time. Time's important. We've, sort of realized that. Any other place that needs more goods? I think we are done. We have managed to use universal miniaturization, what a mouthful, to make goods in all the necessary places. I think. Yeah, we're done. No more goods needed. Okay, so let's solve some other things then. Maybe we can do the whole expensive slipway thing now. This year, right? Do the whole, make bots into water and then use the water to do nothing right now. I mean, it does make you successful, right? And that should help you as well. Yeah, it should help you be prosperous, actually. Now, what do you want? To get rid of a food or to get a water or biomatter? Neither of which is really easy without infraway. Yeah, there's now more and more things wanting infraways, right? It's sort of starting to be noticeable that I relied on it as a bit of a crutch to get us through the late game. Which is fine, right? I mean, there's nothing too wrong with that. I think I can do this solution now. Lensify into expensive. But I mean, it does make a prosperous world. In the end, I think it's worth doing. So that ends up being about it for this year. It's expensive, as I said. Also have biomatter left everywhere. I suppose you could just throw it into a laboratory if you need to. Although, you know, the thing it's wanting is adjacencies, not necessarily biomatter, which means use this food. Ah, you're out of range. That's unfortunate. You are not, but that's another horribly expensive connection. Perhaps just an infraway in a year is going to be a better solution. In fact, I'm quite sure that it is. We don't have stream splitting available. We won't have stream splitting available. We can't afford it. If I also want the Elysium project, and I do, because we found a location to get it, right? I want to make one of those. I still have everything, right? I didn't accidentally remove all the things. I didn't. Yeah, so we should be able to get it, right? Water, biomatter. Wait, I don't have an ore anymore. I got rid of my ore. That's an oof. But I suppose I could found a planet for that, right? It's a two-way trade then. It's out of range, but I mean... Are you in? Well, this might be a little... Yeah, I did do that. It's all obstructed or out of range. We'll have to use another infraway, but I think that this is okay in the last year to do, right? For the ore to go into Vast for it. Again, like, you know, founding plants in the last year. I do want to see that Elysium project work, so yeah, that's, you know, but I mean, doing the mission, right, is also very valuable, so it's one thing or the other sometimes. I kind of beat myself in the head and not remember that, you know, I had this ore earmarked for something and I did not realize it, and it won't make more. No, wait, it will. It will make more. You just need another partner. So I can give you a partner. You, right? You are the partner. Just get a person. What am I thinking? Just get a person, you get the ore will go into there. We don't need that. We can just infra space in a person and we're done. It's like, ah, you fool, right? What are you doing? Why are you not thinking? Because things are getting complicated. So the rest of this year is skipped then? I think it is. Right, feels weird. Doing something new. There's Infraspace Mastery. We've saved up some money by doing that skip. Not much, but, you know, some. So now, what first? Right? Suddenly, a world of options have opened up, and we're going to be utilizing all of them. Most of them. All of them, ideally. So, you want a partner for a chip. So you want to go there, but you want to desperately go there. So if I want to do both, then I'll have to be careful about how things interconnect. Right? You also want to send your water to places, but I'll worry about you later. You're less likely to be able to complete. So this is probably the most efficient and cheapest one I can build. Can you go behind? You cannot go behind. That's the problem, right? I can do that or that, but not both. So can we fix you in another way other than getting this chip? You need a partner. Like, what other type of part? There's also the option of using this leftover good somewhere, right? I could, for example, use this people planet as a partner. And that's not... There's nothing terribly against that, as long as, you know, we don't have something we want to do here, which, I mean, this might be it, right? This ore might be a partner as well, which would just mean like so. Actually, that fixes it, right? That gives it water, and that's a partner. So I don't need to worry about him, I just need to worry about sending the chip somewhere. I can't really... Oh, we can go to the Elysium project, of course. Which we still have available. So then this one just prospers as soon as we build that. I gotta stay careful about not chopping off too many connections then if I'm looking to complete that project. Which, if I do both this one and that one, where's the robot coming from? Because it can't be here. Because that gets blocked off. It could come from a microforge. To give you a robot. And you do have a chip here. Or there. So you have a robot, we have a chip. We have a biomet, we have a water, we have a food. We have everything. This can be done. Okay. Just like making sure, right? I mean, I can always undo things, right? If we end up... Hey, where is the other water? You don't have more? Well, then, you know, send it internally then. Right, to the innermost one that's, like, doesn't have any water from anywhere else available. Yeah, that's better. So the other water has to come from here? Question mark, question mark. Oh, this does open up the robot to be sent from here, so we don't in particular need the microforge, which can be helpful, can save some time. Gotta be careful with how I position this. That did not do that much, actually. It didn't even make anything successful. I might want to hold off on that. Because it doesn't really make you a lot of money if you just send one water somewhere. It just makes 4. It was very expensive. It cost like 80. I might want to hold off on that one then. I might have a better alternative, right? There are loads of options, which is why you gotta be very careful about, you know, thinking what we're doing. There's also culture here, right? That might be the most money option. Or the good. Well, we were making it here, right? And I was sending in water. I was sending it here, actually. That was it. I was like, why? I had a plan. I try to always have a plan. I just tend to forget what the plan actually entails. So can we afford to do this? If the connections are 3, which they're not because of slip space overload, unfortunately. Am I okay with this then? We do have only 2 more years, right? This is going to be tricky. I mean, those do make more money, right? Those actions, 132. Yeah, 1 more, I suppose, right? So send it for this year. We're in August. The money per year does end up going up a bit now, though. 144. So the last few years are going to be, you know, we're going to be able to build what we want. So how much are we still looking for in terms of science? We're able to exactly afford it, right? We'll have 3 left. Yeah, that seems fine. So now, do I want to make things ready for the Elysium project in a bit? We can pre-ready some connections, right? Which might be important because if I have to do everything in the last year, I might not be able to get all of the Elysium projects. The question mostly is like, what other things are needed? We'll need 2 people producing plants to prosperous, right? That's actually important. So, which ones, right? The easiest ones, ideally. What about this? Right, I wanted to send a person into making a water here. Because that would pop prosperous on the thing. And it will also get you. Maybe. Wait, we need to use this water too. Right, we'll use it there. There's another one of these. Yeah, stream splitting would be nice, right? It would make things a lot cheaper, but can't do that. Can't afford it and the thing. So can we get there even? Let's find out, right? We have the undo button. I mean, that is a lot of things, right? That just went. We get the Elysium project. Can we afford 2 of these? 2 of these bangers. Okay, 1. Pop. That, you know, that's a massive amount of stuff that just happened. 2. Right, now this is going to be the tricky one. Because we don't have money. I believe we are slightly lacking the funds to be able to afford our little escapade here. In fact, I'm quite sure that you know, it's going to be 1 Elysium project, not 2. Because if I do try to do 2, where is the prosperous people producing planet at? I don't see it. That might be a little bit of an iffy maneuver. Because so 3 partners. Oh my god, they all want partners. They all want partners. I don't have all these partners for you guys ready yet. What do you want as a partner? An import. Can I just give you some culture and that would be it? I suppose, yeah, so you can be fixed with culture. Like if I can just fix the things with... I mean, this ain't happening then, right? Because it would be like another infraway, another infraway, another infraway. It's a bit too much, right? I do like what I did here, though. I think this is great. You know, have another prosperous world. Why not? And the final culture. I mean, there's options, right? Go there. Yeah, we're about 1 year short of doing all the things we wanted to do. Still, we end up in the final year. That's fairly good. And actually, you know, if we're not going to build that Elysium project, better not build it. I was hoping to get 2 though. Like maybe we want to undo all the things in the last few years and try to go for, you know, a different type of setup where we get another technology and then... I think 1 Elysium project is fine. I was hoping to do 2 though. But anyway, we do get 2 more missions right out of it. So it's not all bad. So yeah, if I do this culture connection... just in general, you want some more trading partners. You know, that's 1. And then, you know, do that and that's 2 more and we're done. 1 more Forge World though. So yeah, about the lack of money, I believe we have found our problem. So, like, you wanted to get a partner as well, right? So, if I instead pick you as my partner, right, I choose you, then this does work. Barely, but it does. We end up with 5 money remaining, 3 science remaining, using all the things we can do. I think it's time to say we cannot do any more. We are done in July, right? But, you know, the text we use. Okay, so we're not quite done, but 2 more culture to send to places, right? So I can make like 167... 170, right? That makes this prosperous, which actually helps. 170 happiness. 200 income. 1 more year would have, you know, made, you know, the whole thing prosperous, but I think it was a good idea to stop at 30 planets and actually start improving the things we had rather than expanding further. It's different from what I usually do, which is just I continue building in the last few years. But with the low income in the mid-game, I feel like turning it around this way made a lot of sense. And of course also, you know, making use of all the technologies in fanciful ways. I would have liked to use this twice, right? I think that overall these tier 4 techs, you actually want to use them at least twice to make use of them. I mean, we use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 infraways, so I think infraways was definitely a good choice. I'm on the fence on the Elysium project, but I think, you know, we're good. Let's send it. See what we end up with. Because I haven't checked the score at all, right? It's kind of a mystery. Oh! That's a fairly good one. 26,900. Alright. Let's jot some things down. I'll be back in a moment with maybe another run. Go ahead and record this one, and we'll see you soon. Probably I'm doing 1 more. This was cool though. A late game skip run, which ended up quite well.